Okay, so you have to look at the history of the thing, and at some stage, some galleries, artists need a gallery.
I think in terms of Hussein, he still needs gallery because the galleries sometimes now need to authenticate his work. I mean, you know, so the gallery does keep coming back in some way or the other in an artist's career. He may not need to sell through a gallery now, but you know, somebody might trace a bill back to say Sharan Apparam in 1990, and she might have sold a Hussein work. So the gallery keeps coming back, in some way.
So this is very interesting because it reminds me of a story with my conversation with a very senior artist. And so this gentleman was talking about relationship with older galleries and going back 40, 50, 60 years ago. And saying like at that point, like, of course there was no market, so these galleries would support these artists. Like, and it's like now we support them. It's very interesting, like what he said, and it just ties everything together.
My next question is, can an artist have an alternate career and be taken seriously?
Yes. I know many artists who are artists and have alternative careers. Sometimes that alternative career gives them the energy, and it's really an artist's mind. It's not about the amount of time they spend on their artwork. It's what they're saying at the end of the day that's important to the world.
So would you even consider somebody without an art education, so somebody who is self-evolved, it's okay?
I work with many artists like that.
Okay, Mukesh, the question is to you. There is a trend among galleries, especially abroad, to charge a membership fee, and then they sign a contract and they put you in a group or a solo show. And also apart from this, this is my experience in New York in particular, some of the galleries are artist co-ops. It's artists coming together, forming the gallery, and each one promoting their own, but they have a common space they exhibit in. Now, will this kind of a system work in India?
So we talk about two things here. So the galleries which charge a fee, there's a title for them. They're called vanity galleries, and so they are a little notorious. People don't take them seriously. I mean, and that's my understanding of that. And there is enough information that is floating around, because when you talk about serious reviewers and critics and the curators, they usually don't like to work with them. So yeah, it's a little dodgy, and I don't see how that will work here. When you talk about the artist co-op, I think there is something, there is a merit to it. Except I think that even that can't be long term. I think it connects with Sharan's point.
Yeah,
that after a while they will need a gallery.
Yeah, there are some of these artist co-ops in Bangalore now. They're artist spaces. And I think, promoting art is really a different business from creating the art. And when the two, I know you're an artist and a gallerist, but I think in the long term, a lot of these artist galleries need a different kind of an energy, and which not all groups can have. And I think any gallery to survive needs a business sense. They're not really the charitable foundations. The galleries are, they're primarily business houses, yeah.
No, and also the arrangement that these artists have is that while they're given a platform at a fee, the entire marketing, everything is their own responsibility. Then again, you're part of a group, but at the same time, you're on your own. So I really, personally, I feel that it's not a great idea. But we do have a model of some sort in Cholamandal Artist Village. The thought that artists have come together and, they've bought space and they have a common gallery.
No, that's a commune of people living there, and they have a gallery which they rent out. Okay, and they have a collective, which is a museum, but I don't think they are an art business. They're an art, you could call them like a residential space. You can't compare Cholamandal with a gallery.
And another thing I would like to say, an artist should focus on his work, I think when he thinks of selling or running, the commercial side of an artist, it might affect his work.
Okay, we'll get on to... is art an investment or an expense, Sharan? And also...
It's a joy. I don't know about it being an investment. Well, sometimes in my life it's worked, but I don't think it's a good idea for people who are looking at it as an investment business. I think the collectors talked about this quite a lot.
Yes, and because nobody who opposed that actually.
Yeah, and I think your primary objective of buying art should be because you love it, not because you want to make money on it.
Okay, then I want you to elaborate on what is a balanced portfolio for somebody who has deep pockets and also for somebody who is a new entrant in the field. I mean, if at all he wants to build
if they want to build a collection, then I would say if they have deep pockets, then they should definitely buy the very established artists and buy good quality works and buy the younger artists. And then, the moment most collectors begin to study the market and study artists and understand artists, I really don't think anybody should get into buying art without understanding what the artist is about. Because then if they just go by hearsay and these magazine articles, it's not a very good way of collecting. And when they start understanding the art, I think they look deeper and then they find art that they relate to. And it's very important when you have to live with art or when you have to build collections, because that's what actually makes collectors. Because they go after a particular artist because of something that they have, and that makes the artist stronger when they have a following. And I think this only looking at the bottom line is not the best way of collecting, or not the best way of getting into collecting.
Which is investment.
No, if you look at investment, I think you have to look at something completely different. There's investment, and return of money should not be an objective in building a collection. I think it should look at established names, it should look at young artists that have the energy, and it has to have a focus. If the focus is blue chip, then let that be the focus. But investing is such a gray area and such a complex area.
Then, so what would the balance be? Would it be equal, or it will all depend on how much funds?
Well, I would do a mix. I would do a mix of very good. If I liked abstraction, I'd do very well-known abstract artists who are senior and work with younger people, and I would mix it with old and new. If I were a collector and I had an X budget. And that's also because I relate to a lot of the younger work. I find the younger work very energetic. And the older work, it's not easy to find good quality older works that have the energy, because there's so much in the market and not everybody wants to sell good works by senior artists. So you don't always see very good works in the market. And if there's a good work, it goes very quickly, so you don't actually see that. So I would definitely mix the two.
Is there a secondary market we know there is a secondary market for a well-known name, but what about a mid-career artist? Is there a secondary market for it?
If the artist's work is good, yes. Many mid-career artists' works that are not available are being sold in the secondary market. But there's no secondary market for bad work. If an artist has not been successful, nobody wants his work. That's the sad truth.
Okay. Shri, question to you. New media has gained a strong foothold amongst contemporary Indian artists as their preferred medium of choice, especially since you're working with younger artists. And it refers to a genre that encompasses artworks creating new media technologies such as digital art, computer graphics, animation, virtual art, interactive technologies, robotics, etc. And together with this, art povera, which is also art from found objects. Then again, how do they fare against traditional bronze, oil or acrylic on canvas, new trend today? And also the second part of that question is, what does it reflect on the buyer's preference?
Are we seeing a new trend? I think it's what Arshia said about different timelines. I think these art povera and new media and photography and found objects have been done in the 50s, 60s abroad, and I think it's been done much later over here. That is not to diss it or say that it's not relevant. It is very relevant for sure. How does it fare against traditional paintings and bronzes? Again, I think if you look at just just data and figures, I think paintings and bronzes have always been called blue chip because they just sell that much more. There's just, any collector can find a place for a small sculpture on his table or for a painting on his wall, but not many who might want to invest in a projector for a video or have a sculpture made of cow dung possibly. So we're just talking about a very small niche market.